every time I start to think about going from A to B, somewhere in there my brain goes, hey! I'm sure some doctor would be like, that's a classic case of...
Das ist crazy boat building, man.
How's it going today? We're back on it after a couple of days of thinking. I did have a little bit of a freak out in terms of gauge wiring. I was watching a boat video because I just could not wrap my head around the switch and how to wire the switch. And so yesterday I must have watched a couple pots of coffee's worth of videos though. I guess I disappeared so long. This lady showed up with a bowl of fresh peaches that she'd cut up because she's like, I don't know where you've been. So she came down and found me, and I was just watching these videos, trying to wrap my head around it. And in turn, I'm an illustrator drawing my setup with the wiring to try and figure out, I get it now. But like, check out this schematic I built, dude. What is that? But it's what I needed to get my head working into this. And it's actually kind of simple now. I think what I'll do when this whole boat debacle is done, I'm gonna have a couple of videos that come out of it. One, I'm gonna do just a cool montage, I think. Maybe set the whole thing to music, 2 and 3 minutes long, something like that, of the photos from when I started scrubbing this boat down to us out on the water. I think that would be cool. The second thing I might do is a really, really simple video for simpletons like myself, because I find these videos and the guy's like, okay, really simple, we're gonna show you how to do this. The first thing I'm gonna do is remove this switch and put in a horn switch, which means I need an inline fuse. And I'm like, dude, I'm gone, I'm lost. But anyway, I think I'll do a simple little video on like, dude, here's how simple this is. There's been a couple of things, like I have on my trolling motor for when we use it in the John boat and stuff, I've got like, it's an on-off switch, but it's also like a fuse. It's our circuit breaker. And I was watching a video and they're like, you make sure you got a circuit breaker in your boat. And then I'm doing more research about it and like, all I'm running is LEDs. The only incandescent thing I've got in this boat is my 360 light. And the draw on that is pretty small. So they tell me, I don't understand amps. So then the other thing, I went down this rabbit hole and started freaking out, was my wiring. I've got 16 gauge wire and it's marine wire. And I'm watching this video and it's this British fellow, hello mate, who's doing a good job showing me how this thing is all gonna come together. And I'll show you that because it took a minute, but now I get it. Or do I? Yes, I do. Or do I? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do get it, right? But it took a minute. And he's all like talking about charts of wiring and the gauges you need and all of that. And he was talking, an interesting note, that the amount of wiring in a boat is not just like, if you got to go 8 feet, you don't count that. You count 8 feet positive, 8 feet negative. So an 8-foot run is 16 feet. And that's how you determine whatever, I guess, the load drops. Okay, so he's like, you know, I'm like kicking myself with this Napa stuff again, like running 11 feet of 4 gauge wire. If I'd have known then what I know now. This guy's boat is like a frickin' schooner, right? Like he looks like he's, you know, Bruno Gerussi hitting the shores. Throw back to that if you're Canadian. He's using 6 gauge for his battery cable. And he doesn't have it running 11 feet to his switch and then 11 feet back to his frickin' lights. That's 22 feet. If you double 44 feet of wiring, it's not frickin' necessary, right? But we'll know better for the John boat because the John boat's gonna be really bare bones. Just a rack of light bars at the front. That's it. Maybe a rack at the back. Maybe a couple on the side. And maybe red LEDs on the interior, right? So you can you know, load your guns and get everything ready in the blind. But Even that's not necessary. We've got red lights on our head. So anyway, he's like, I use 12 gauge in my boat. And I'm like, shit, I've got 16. And like, this wasn't, I think this was 70 bucks, right? Which is fine and dandy because I'm almost done here. I've got a little strip over here for the 360, a little bit for the bilge pump, and that's it. So that means like 30, 35 bucks to wire this boat. And I'm gonna have enough for the John boat. And I'll have enough left over should I put another accessory light on or something like that. So I don't mind that as an investment, but what I do mind is the thought that A, I gotta rip out everything I've done, B, I gotta switch it all up to 12 gauge, and like, that is now 120 bucks on Amazon, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I started Googling, and then I come across this document I swear I do not really understand, but Control F, do a little search for the words gauge, and I find that the US Coast Guard's minimum allowable gauge is 16. And then I come across this great resource, Dock Light, or Dock Life, or something like that, and they're talking about, hey man, 16 gauge wire is totally fine if you're just running LED lights. Oh, and 16 gauge wire for a bilge pump 2000 GPH and below is fine as long as it's within 15 feet. Well, I got a 600 and I'm maybe 2 feet. Whew. Crisis avoided. And you might be thinking, why are you telling us? We don't care. Well, it was a big part of my day yesterday. It was stressful. There's so much information out there, and I mean so much contradiction. And not even from the boat builders. I'll watch, you know, Backwater Boat Rehab, or I'll watch Tiny Boat Nation, and they're essentially saying kind of the same thing. They're doing it a little bit different ways. You know, one of them maybe likes all these sort of, he doesn't like these inline fuses, but he does like inline fuses, so he puts those in. The other guy's like, why bother? They're on the switch anyway. The other guy's like, nope, take them off, do it this way. Great. But it's the comments on these videos that are just like, oh man. And, you know, I know there's a lot of trolls on the internet, and I don't, you know, I don't pay attention to that, but sometimes people sound quite sure of themselves. And I don't know. I don't have that knowledge base. So I do my due diligence and I Google kind of what they're saying, which means 3 or 4 different articles, maybe a video or 2. And it's been a lot. You know, it's been a lot. Ask me to come back to you with 6 concepts for a billboard, fully fleshed design, to photo shoot, video editing. Ask me to paint you a 25-foot mural of a frickin', you know, pintail. Sure, I can do that. It doesn't even stress me in the slightest way. Ask me to make this run this, and my first reaction is, I turn into Kendall.
What?
Wait, huh? What? Well, yeah. Wait, no. What? Kendall, bro. I've been noodling about the hatches, because they sell some that I don't know. I bought a bunch of hinges. I bought a bunch of clasps. For actually less money, I could buy a hatch, a plastic hatch, and I've been reading some of them. It all depends on whether or not they're going to fit what I'm fitting. I got my bilge pump that I've had for a while. I went and bought a float switch for it because everyone said you needed a float switch. And then as I'm reading about this, it's sitting in water anyway. And this is not some big yacht down at the marina and oh my God, the water's getting in. This is going to be me on a rainy day or lots of waves coming in the boat. Pop the hatch, take a look in. Do I need to turn the bilge pump on or off? So thank you, but no thank you. Return that to Canadian Tire. I also returned both those bus bars to Amazon and that secondary bus bar. And I picked up a Blue Sea Atwood fuse block. And this thing has got 6 circuits. Huh, I've got 5. Works for me. And it's got both the battery terminal connectors, so for positive, negative from our 11-foot run. It's going to have our negatives for our black wires, and it's going to have our positives to run to the switches. So this replaces that single little fuse block I had, and then a separate bus bar, all in one, made by Blue Sea. I have come to like them, and I'm just going to have to sort of figure out the hatches and see if that's what we're going to do. I also want to grab a couple of markers and mark these lights I saw a brilliant guy, not a brilliant guy, I don't know, he might be an idiot, but it was a very smart solution. He had different colored heat shrink, and he just put it here, and he put it wherever this went. So yellow was, say, for his spotlight, and blue was for his cabin lights. So when he's wiring everything, he can figure it out. I'm not that smart, but I do got a Sharpie, so I'm just gonna write on it, because I'm a good writer. Mind you, these are not pointy, so my writing might not be. Luckily, Miss Lady had a couple for me. That's my old one. Ugh. Give me this one. Look at how sharp. And then this one, which is like, ooh. I don't know. Just playing on Amazon. I think I might have a game changer, but I need to put the motor on the boat to see if that's indeed going to be what happens. Might not be a problem. So what I'm trying to figure out, folks, I gotta make a deck here. And then I gotta cut that deck out and carpet it. And carpet what I cut out, or cut another piece, because that'll probably get ruined. And then I bought some stainless steel hinges off the Amazon. And I bought these flush mount, I don't know how they work, and I bought 3 sets of those because I was going to do the battery box, what I was calling the anchor box, or possibly the rope box, and then this back hatch. And the 3 of those, because stainless steel is expensive, $112 for the 3 hinges and the 3 things. And I'm looking on the Amazon, and I can get very well reviewed weather sealed, because I'd have to figure out how to weather seal, and I was like playing with the idea of weather seal for a door and adhesing it down or somehow, or I don't know what I'm thinking. Nobody does. But if I bought a hatch that fit here, and I can reach in and get all my junk, and if I bought a hatch that fit over the battery box, just to be able to get in and put the trickle charger on it, they are black plastic, waterproof, get really good reviews, and they're way less money, and I wouldn't have an entire episode dedicated to how the hell do I cut and carpet and fit these hinged things. Because I don't know if you've noticed, as it's the tail end of August, projects take a minute. So this boat will be ready, you know, put your Halloween costumes on, kids. We're going for a boat ride, the inaugural boat ride. Does everyone have their toque? But we're getting there. But this will be instant gratification, and it'll be so much cleaner fit and finish. And I love this gunmetal gray of the boat. I love how I'm hiding everything. I'm hoping that everything's going to be slick Rick. Nice gray carpet, flat floors, beautiful new chairs, the gray and thing, and then some black, they're not flush mounted, but they're, you know, black professional looking panels. I think we got ourselves the biscuit, as the kids say. We got ourselves the biscuit.
Who says that?
The kids. The kids say we got the biscuit.
No one says.
The kids say, hey, Ma, we got the biscuit.
Wow.
Kids say we got the biscuit.
No one says that.
Kids say we got the biscuit.
Biscuit style!
So for my last Amazon order, I'm only keeping 2 things. I bought this 2-pack of stainless steel latches. They're going to be for the gas tank. The gas tank is just going to be a piece of plywood. The roof of the gas tank is going to be a piece of plywood. And it's basically going to sit in place. And it's going to be held down with this. One on either side. So when it's time to gas up, pop it off, put the gas in, or pull the tank out or whatever. This here, I've already gone and ordered it. We'll figure out how to run the bilge pump. We'll hide the wiring nice and neat through the boat. And yeah, I feel really good about that purchase. You know, I don't know I said it since the beginning. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be humorous. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have a rough idea, you know? Like, I knew I wanted the seats. I knew I wanted a deck. I've got an anchor that I don't know. It's got a funny story to it because my brother-in-law was out fishing with my father-in-law before I knew anybody. And Dave says, throw the anchor over. So he did. But I guess the rope wasn't attached to it. And that story is told to this day as many times as it can be, because that's just hilarious. So I have the replacement anchor and rope. So I really do want to use it. It doesn't fit in the anchor storage box that I designed. I thought it was big enough, and I had measured the exterior dimensions, not thinking of the interior, like, oh, it's 22, that's all I need, and, you know, whatever, 12. But with the wood, it's actually 21 and, you know, 9. But you know what I mean. Maybe that can fit in the battery box. Maybe we'll figure out, maybe it just sits up on the deck. I don't know. But one hatch up there for the battery, for some ropes. One hatch back here for all of our accoutrement. Let me show you. All right, so we got our fire extinguisher that I will mount so it's easy to get out. Paddles. They'll slide in. Essentials kit, our flashlight that won't be in the box, and our signal horn that won't be in the clamshell. And maybe I just get a little plastic container like Miss Lady said and, you know, slide that in. So that's that. And then we can pop the hatch, see if the bilge pump needs to be turned on. That's awesome. Possum. There we go. And again, man, like, it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes it feels right. Sometimes it feels wrong. Sometimes we have a little dance. Hello. But the hatch decision cost me less than returning those hinges and the latch pulls that I wasn't even sure how they were going to work. And that's going to be so nice and pretty. We'll finish up the wiring. I told you this part of it, we were going quaddin, so we're not going to get a lot done, but got a lot done up here, up in the brain spot. The brain spot's got its stuff figured out, and that's a good thing. All right, we're going quaddin. I got a couple of mini jerry cans that have never seen anything but gasoline. We'll have to invest in proper quad cans. We both got 2 full tanks, a high test. We're gonna hit some trails and see what kind of trouble we can get up to. Rawr.
Bye.